Alright Tank, welcome to your first rifle class. As you know, we only teach the best at this academy. Make sure your lanes are clear. Mount your weapons. Number 3. Higher in the shoulder. Higher, higher, higher. Flip it. Good.
What's up guys, Operation 4, back with another video. Welcome back to the mountain. So today I was reading some literature, as I typically do, and I decided to kind of start a new series involving what I think about certain authors and their works. What inspired this to actually make videos about this is I've read probably 30 to 40 tactical books from different authors and stuff, and some are good, some are bad. I decided to write my own book. It is currently in the works. I'm trying to cut out all the fluff that I possibly can. Stuff versus fluff. I learned that term from this book that we're about to kind of review, and then I want to make an example out of some things and give my thoughts and my little nitpicks, and hopefully you enjoy. So, give credit where credit is due. The book is titled Your Defensive Rifle Training by Michael Seeklander. Now, he did some cool ops through the Marine Corps. He did like counter-drug operations, stuff like that. And I gotta say, right here, right now, he's pretty legit. I mean, his book is pretty good. I wouldn't say perfect, but especially if you're just getting into this tactical, oh, I'm gonna get a helmet and plate carrier, or you just want some like solid home defense, military or police training, this is a very good book to read. It's roughly 279 pages. I read it all today and I skimmed through it. So anyways, we need to understand, before we can actually sit and do a fair review of a book, whether that be nonfiction, a training manual, something like that, whatever, we have to understand who it's for and why it was made, like what is its purpose. Now, in this, he does kind of cater to military-minded individuals. However, this is more for home defense and basic rifle techniques as a whole. This is for like just defensive rifle techniques as a whole. So he uses examples like the police force, law enforcement, military. He uses stuff like just defending your home from home invaders, stuff like that. He mentions kit. He mentions some stuff here and there throughout the book about, prepared citizens and stuff like that. He never really mentions prepared citizens, but he does say that civilians obviously can read the book and learn from that and utilize those skills in an effective manner. But it's more tailored to just using the rifle in a defensive manner. And I know that sounds crazy to try to explain that, because that's literally what the title is. However, you would be surprised how many tactical field manuals they are that almost have nothing to do with the title. So I just got to throw that out there. He did pretty good on that aspect. It's focused, when it gets good, it's focused solely on using a rifle. This is an AR pistol, by the way, but AR platform specifically, using it to defend and protect your life. So now, after that, I gotta say, if you are experienced and if you don't really care about the mentality, you don't really care about the psychological effects or any of that, I'll be honest, I kind of skipped. Camera's shaking. I'll be honest, guys, I kind of skipped chapters 1 through 4, and this is kind of satire what I'm about to say, but I'm reading a book on how to use a rifle in a defensive purposes. I just want to learn how to kill the enemy in the most effective way possible. I don't want to sit here and learn history. I don't want to monologue. That's a big reason why I skipped chapters 1 through 4. To me, videos, you can get by with some monologue, but when it comes to text, just say exactly what I need and what I need to do and how I need to do it. I don't need background on anything. Now that is mainly because I've read so many tactical manuals and field manuals and stuff like that. I got military experience and all that. I've heard it a million times, the mentality and stuff like that. I've heard it a million times. I don't want to hear it again. If you are brand new to the gun game and you just want to learn how to defend yourself, then yes, those chapters are important. But for me, I skip chapters 1 through 4. I'd read, the introduction. I'm like, I got the mentality, I got all that. I don't need it. I just want to see the tactics, see if I can learn anything, even with all my experience. That's how I approach this. That might not be the best way to approach a novel like this, or a book like this, a manual, so to speak, but that's how I did. 60% of all tactical manuals are filler, and I wish that authors would just cut that out. That's one big reason I'm writing my book. It's just straight how-tos. It's not, there might be a paragraph or two, an introduction, a short story or something like that, but after that it is just straight how-to, because that's all you need. I've read so many of these manuals and stuff. I mean, it's getting crazy. We're going to review some, and even the ones I stand by, stuff like Fry the Brain, which is a crazy guerrilla sniper book. There's a lot of history and stuff I just don't care about. I just want the techniques, and I feel like a lot of viewers just want the techniques and tactics. We don't care about the history. We just want to learn how to be as lethal and effective as possible in the case of defensive purposes. And what that means is, even if you're law enforcement, even if you're military, if you use your rifle, your main objective is to be as lethal and deadly as possible, because when you break the rifle out, you are using lethal force, you are using deadly force. The rules of engagement have been escalated so much that is your only option. That's the only reason you should have your rifle out and be shooting it in the first place. So even with all my experience, I do believe you should always be learning and growing. And there definitely was some things I picked up that I'm not a master at. However, like I said, I learned it, and I'm going to continue to train in those areas, because I was definitely lacking, and there was things that just kind of brought to my attention that I've never really done before. He was kind of making an example, and I don't know if I'll actually be able to do this. I'm going to try to just eye the camera, see what we can do. I might do it to a tree in a little bit. But essentially, I'm a right-handed shooter, right? There's a wall right here. Alright, so I'm peeking around at you, okay? Vertical, rifle, little bit ahead, just enough for the eye, right? That's how you do that. However, if I step over here, and I'm a right-handed shooter, and there's a wall here, and I need to pie left, so to speak, or go around left, or shoot from the left, most people don't switch hands, and I didn't, because it's just so awkward. But he really emphasizes trying to be ambidextrous with your weapon, and I never realized how much that rings true until he showed me his examples in the book. So wall's right here. I come around, my foot is exposed, all this cut right here, all this, because I'm leaning. I have to get the rifle in the right pocket of my shoulder, and it definitely seems like no duh, but I never realized how much exactly was exposed. That's crazy. So from now on, when I'm practicing clearing rooms and stuff, if there's a wall and I got to pie left and go around like this, I'm not stepping out like that. I'm just going to switch hands and do that. Try to keep my elbow tucked as much as possible, so it mirrors when I clear the right side, if that makes sense. Little exposure, as it gives you as little exposure as possible on both sides. And like I said, I never really thought it was that big of a deal, because speed wise, I go so much faster like this. I'll put thousands of rounds down range like this on my right side, and I'll probably only put maybe 100 to 200 rounds on my left side. So that's something that I need to work on. That's something maybe not a lot of people thought about, to be 100%, or thought it was as bad. I didn't think it was as bad, So I was like, as long as I'm in the gunfight, I should be all right. But it makes sense. I'll put it that way. He does hit on good one-handed techniques. If you get shot in the arm or something, you have to apply a tourniquet and you're reloading and stuff with one hand. I'm not going to spoil his whole book or just the tactics. You can go look for that, but he does hit on one-handed stuff. It seems pretty legit. Another thing, and I never really realized this, or at least I'll put it this way. When I first came into the gun space, I always wondered why people didn't have weapon lights right on the bottom rail, or right on the bottom, at the 6 o'clock position. And he hits off on this. He hits off and he's saying stuff, you know, he runs a 6 o'clock position on all his rifles. And I thought that was crazy. I'm like, no one does that. It's always on the side, left or right. Quad rail, M-lock, key mod, it doesn't matter. It's always on the side. I mean, look at that. That's what I know. That's how I like it, right? That's how everybody likes it, is on the side or up here kind of diagonal. But he actually explained the importance of using the flashlight on the 6 o'clock position, and even though I have not moved it yet, he makes such a good argument. I'm probably about to move it, to be straight up with you. The only thing that I could see that he didn't really talk about is if you're shooting off of barriers or something like that, the flashlight is going to hit and get on there, and it's going to make it harder. That's why I don't use a vertical grip or anything. It's going to make it harder to put up on barriers and shoot at your targets and stuff. But just for standing and for kneeling, and you know, nighttime use, obviously, the 6 o'clock position of your flashlight does seem to reign supreme. I'm not going to lie. He made a really good argument for that. I'm not going to get too crazy into it, but I might switch this over. Now, the only reason I'm not is because, like I said, I plan on, this is my go-to. This is my go-to. This is my go-to war right here. You know what I'm saying? I plan on shooting from cover and from barriers and from really awkward positions, and I still think that on the side is a little bit better for that. However, a good argument he made is, let's take that example of me pieing left and there's a wall right here. I'm peeking around. That wall's right in front of the light. It's just glaring back and it's making me a silhouette and a shadow so the enemy can see me. Even if I go here and I switch, and there's a wall right here, it's still doing the same thing. I have to expose more of myself, and then that completely kills what I was going for, trying to minimize my exposure and switch my shoulder and go left instead of right. Essentially what I'm saying is the light on the 6 o'clock actually makes sense, and I never see people, especially gun tubers and stuff, run that. But I mean, it makes sense. The only disadvantage I see, like I said, is if you're constantly in the prone or like in cover or something like that. But you can't win everything, you know. You can't win everything. You can't be right all the time, you know what I'm saying? He also hit on the science behind SBR. So this is a 10.5. This is a pistol. It has a brace. But he essentially went into the science about it and why he doesn't run anything under a 14-inch or 14.5. He made a good argument with it, and it makes a lot of sense. But here's the thing, you know, he definitely advocates for, he has actual programs in the book. I'm not going to hit on that, but you're shooting live fire at least once a week, and like a case of ammunition, like 5 to 1,000 rounds, or 500 to 1,000 rounds. I can shoot maybe 80 rounds a month, 90 rounds a month. I mean, we're poor over here. Most Americans cannot afford, you know, 500 to 1,000 rounds a month. I think where he trains a lot of law enforcement and military, I think, you know, the guys he hangs around with, I think he does have a diluted view of who's actually reading his books. You know what I'm saying? I don't know anybody that can just drop, you know, $500 on a 1,000 round case of 5.56, not to stockpile, but to generally just go and shoot in a weekend. That is crazy money. Slide me some. I mean, really, slide me some. That's crazy, man. I can afford maybe a couple boxes a month plus what I got in my reserve. Like, no, that's not most of America, man. That's something else. You're hanging out with some big wigs. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't really agree with that point, and that goes back into the SBR because he's talking about how if you run a 10.5 barrel, he kept mentioning 7.5, but anything under a 14-inch barrel, he keeps mentioning how the gas system is prone to blow up and how the fouling is really bad. It gets dirtier and everything. And his science is 100% correct. Do not get me wrong. His science is 100% correct. However, this is my go to war, and it's still my go to war, and it's a 10.5 because you see this vegetation behind me. I need something super short, and they use 10.5s, the Car 15 back in Vietnam, and they didn't have that that much issues out of it, just the magazines. So I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to stick with the 10.5, even though it might get a little dirtier. Even if I do go to war, this pistol is never going to see more than 5,000 rounds. In its configuration, at least. I might rob parts and make a Frankenstein later on, but this thing is never going to see 5,000 rounds. That's just crazy. That's just how it is, though. One is, even though it fouls more and it gets dirtier, I don't really see that being a problem unless you don't clean it. You go thousands of rounds without cleaning it. Either way, I don't see the difference between a 10.5, a 14, and a 20-inch. I got to be honest with you, even though 20-inch reigns supreme with ballistics, and that's what it was originally designed for, and then he goes more into the science about it, I do not see it being a problem. I could be wrong. I mean, it's a flip of a coin, really. We don't know until it happens, but I'm still going to stick with my 10.5 as my go-to for this mountainous and vegetative terrain. Alright, so this is really what the video is about. This is what you guys clicked on it for. And I'm going to run just a quick demonstration and try to make sense of it. Just stay with me. So first off, you need to understand that everybody is different. Everybody's built different. Now me, self-hate a little bit. I got a long neck. I got a big head, narrow shoulders. I'm 6'2". I have a decent wingspan. I got like 6'3", 6'4" wingspan. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm pretty lanky. I was always this skinny kid in high school. Like sophomore year, I was 132 pounds and 6'2". I mean, self-hate a little bit. I look like that rake image from that game camera or whatever. You know, that fake creepypasta image. I pop it up. That was literally what I looked like. I looked sickly. It was horrid. I mean, I hated my body, whatever. I'm comfortable with my body now, even with a little dad bod going on, you know what I'm saying? But like, here's the thing, guys. We're all built different. And he goes into techniques in this book that just do not work for me personally. And this is why you need to get out there and train and see what works for you. Because you can watch as many videos as you want from as many instructors and read as many books as you want, until you go out there in the field, or at the very least in your room, and you try to mount the rifle the way that he says, or a different way, you know, it's different. You won't know. You'll have no idea if it works for you, and then you'll get your ass killed trying to figure it out. Repetition. See what I'm doing right there? Repetition. Mounting the weapon, you want it to be virtually the same every single time. See, I missed it right there? Got busy talking. You want it virtually the same every single time. Blah, blah, blah. Now, and no, I cannot shoot you through the camera, alright? So don't make this weird. I'm wearing plates. Most people train in the squared off stance because of the body armor. The way the military trains and law enforcement trains now is with a squared off stance, but back in Vietnam, in World War II, it was a bladed stance. What is the difference? A bladed stance slims my body down a little bit, makes me a harder target to hit, and gives me more stabilization on the platform. Alright? It just does. This is a better way to shoot. Look at Olympic shooters. Olympic shooters actually do this number. They use their bone structure and shoot like this. I used to shoot like that a lot because I used to shoot on a precision rifle team. We use bone structure and weighted vest and slings to support ourselves, to essentially try to negate that human element of air. Compounding off that, a bladed stance for accuracy and solely accurate fire is much better than a squared off stance and always will be. However, here's the thing. When bullets start coming back at you and you have body armor, you need to be square with the target. One, for the plates to work correctly and effectively, and two, to just protect your vitals. You know, the plates got to do what they're made to do. Okay. So here's the thing. He's teaching to shoot in a squared off stance, right? And this is what does not work for me personally, kind of the whole point of this video. So I've seen this on YouTube a couple times as well. I don't know why it's recently been popping up in my feed. However, essentially they want the optic straight down from your eye. And instead of using your shoulder pocket over here or your outer chest, which is what I like to do, I don't like to use my shoulder, I like to use my outer chest. They like to go completely 90 degrees perpendicular to the target, mount it up here at the top plate, and then fire like so. Now see, I'm offsetting, I'm not doing it right. Hold on. Like so, pretty much in the neck, like this. Like this. Alright? By the book. By the book. That is how most people want you to shoot nowadays. Because you're completely square, your vitals are covered, you're kind of boxed in real good. And like I said, I don't train that way. But look at that. You even tuck it in like that, real good. That's almost a perfect stance. But you even still then, I was a couple degrees off. I can't do it. Why can't I do it? I have a long neck and it hurts my neck. It kills my neck. Even without a sling on, it just kills my neck. I literally have to stretch to get a good sight picture like that. I have to like stretch my neck out. And see, I'm still blading. I just can't do it. It hurts my neck so bad. And I have no neck issues or upper back issues or nothing. My posture might not be 100%, but this just goes to show that not everything works for everybody. I mean, if I got in a firefight with that, I'd have cramps down my back and neck for damn days afterwards. I'd be useless. I'd be in the infirmary or something. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, I like to glide, and I like to put it, here's my shoulder, here's where my shoulder ends. I like to put it right on my outer chest, kind of where my upper chest is. This is for stocks and braces, by the way, whatever. ATF said it was cool to shoulder them. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to hear nothing. But I really like to just sit there and bring it. And I might wing it a little bit, but I don't do it like that. You know what I'm saying? I'll bring it in a little bit, about a 45 to a 30 degree, depending on the situation. And that's how I like to do it. Now you notice, I still shrug my shoulder up like he teaches you, but I'm just using the outer part of my chest and not the inner, where the plate is, to provide support to the weapon. Now, I don't see a problem with it. That's what, you know, I'm effective with. That's what I train with. I don't see a problem with it. I might be offset literally like 3-4 degrees. I mean, look, a bullet's coming straight at me this way. It'll hit me at an angle like that. I hope you can see that. Hit me at an angle like that. It might get some shrapnel in my arm. I ain't gonna lie to you. It might get some shrapnel, but at least I won't be dead. You know what I'm saying? You gotta pick and choose. For me, I physically cannot do. It just hurts. I can't do it. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. You know, it's not just that. I'm using him and his teachings as a direct path to show you that it doesn't work every time. Nothing works every time, and everybody is built different. A shorter, stockier dude, like a 5'2", you know, a Trin twin looking dude, I guarantee could do exactly what they were talking about. Exactly, perfectly square, and just do it perfect every single time with a little bit of practice, minimal practice. But if you're taller and linkier like me, you know, like 6'2", got the long neck and stuff, it doesn't work out. So the actual book review, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. if you are experienced, then you know what you're doing. If you're just solely looking for tactics, because like I said, I skipped the first 4 chapters because I didn't learn or get anything out of it. He has training plans and round counts and all this crazy stuff, dry fire drills. I read them, but I'm not going to just be like, oh, this is this and this is that. I'm not ever going to copy someone like that. Go buy the book. It's great. It's on Kindle Unlimited. That's how I read a lot of mine. I get on Kindle Unlimited, the ebooks, and I'll just swipe through and I'll read them real quick. So 8.5 out of 10 for me personally as a more experienced dude. I learned stuff. I did. The 6 o'clock flashlight is something I'm going to play around with. I haven't moved it over yet, but when I get to training and stuff and doing some more night training and low light training, 100% I'm going to put the light on the 6 o'clock. I'm going to let you guys know how I like it in a video coming up. But this goes to show, even with military experience and all this and that, and I've read probably 30 to 40 tactical manuals easy, you can always learn stuff. It's a never-ending thing to improve yourself and what you can do. Alright, I'm going to show you some examples of things I've learned and just show you the differences. Like I said, good book, 8.5 out of 10. If you're new, I'd give it a 9.7 out of 10. You always got to strive for better. I mean, we can always do better, right? So this time I'm just going to use right shoulder, use this tree as cover. It's not exactly perfectly squared off surface, but this will get the job done, hopefully. Now we're going to do the left side, but with the right shoulder. And I'm actively trying to keep a low profile silhouette. So that's how much is exposed right there. Try it again. I'll try to lean more into it this time. Like that. It's a good stable platform. That's a lot of exposure. Now I'm going to do right side, and then I'm going to switch hands, or switch shoulder pockets to the left side, and show you guys that way. All right, real quick, 2 more things. He did talk about pointing your muzzle. Let's say there's a beam here. Let's say this tree right here is a wall, and I'm trying to clear the room or something. He did say, and forewarn, trying to stick your muzzle through, because you don't know who's on the other side. Somebody could grab my muzzle and do crazy things if they were in that room. You don't know who's on the other side of the wall. So he did say, especially in tight spaces, to kind of step it back and just keep your distance and work your angles. And that's something I never really thought about either. But also, to counteract that, if I was doing this and somebody grabbed my muzzle and started to pull, I'm gonna get it real hot real quick. I'm just gonna keep firing. That's what I would personally do. I mean, if you're law enforcement, obviously don't do that. You don't know who it is. But if somebody grabbed my muzzle when I'm actively clearing a room or something like that, and they started to pull, this trigger all day long. That's just how it is. Also, I wanted to break out, this is a 16-inch build right here with a fixed stock, a loop AR stock. I just wanted to show you as well. I want to show you guys as well. It wasn't just the AR pistol because of the shorter length of pull or whatever that was causing me not to be able to do that. It's a little bit better, but it's still super uncomfortable in my neck and my neck area. Now some people say, oh, you just gotta hold it up like this. But look at that, there is no pocket whatsoever. No, there's nothing, no stabilizing. It still hurts the back of my neck. Like I said, I don't have any neck issues that I know of or back issues. I just have a longer neck and a bigger head, you know what I'm saying? It's just how I'm built. So I just wanted to show you guys that it wasn't the fact it was a short compact AR pistol. It is solely the fact of how I'm built and how some tactics and some training tips just, it doesn't work. See, I even catch myself, I just can't, I can't force it. See, I'm still at a angle. To do that, nah. That's a migraine waiting to happen. But see you guys next time on the mountain. God bless y'all. Peace.